Voting against the bill.
I call Paul Goldsmith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's my pleasure to speak on the Public Finance Fiscal Responsibility Amendment Bill, and I must say I am disappointed that the opposition couldn't rise above daily politics and find it within itself to support this bill. I do hope they will reconsider over the next stages. Certainly that earlier generation of Labour Party leaders wouldn't have gone down such a line on such an important bill. Now, there's no question that public reporting and transparency provisions of the Public Finance Act 1989 served New Zealanders well for the last 2 decades in keeping the focus on maintaining low Crown debt levels. And New Zealanders haven't forgotten the horrors of the past when, after each election, the true state of the nation's finances was revealed. In 1984 and in 1990 it was the same with Mr Cagle. And so the Fiscal Responsibility Act 1994, which was later folded into the Public Finance Act, was one of Ruth Richardson's greatest achievements, and that was followed by 15 years of budget surpluses, something totally unthinkable in the 1970s and early 80s. People couldn't believe that it was possible to get back to surplus, and we did. And so the New Zealand's reputation has changed to an area of to a place from being a basket case of a country to a place of quality public policy, and successive governments have focused on maintaining low or prudent public debt levels. And it is true that the Labour government for its first 2 terms maintained those surpluses, but it is also true, and it is sometimes forgotten by members on the other side, they did leave the country pregnant with debt for the next 10 years, according to the projections that they left behind. And that's what we've had to grapple with in this government, and that's why these sorts of legislations are so important. So why is fiscal responsibility important? Because quality public policy and practice and sound financial management brings confidence, and it is confidence for the private sector to invest and to create jobs that is so important. And conversely, the absence of fiscal responsibility leads to a lack of confidence and a lack of investment and a lack of growth. And we see that all around the world today, and New Zealand is lucky that we're not in that circumstance. Now, I want to draw there are a number of new principles brought out in this Act. The first one is that government should formulate fiscal strategy with regard to its interaction with monetary policy. And there was a fair bit of debate about this during the course of the Select Committee, and we heard some submissions on this point. And the bill, there was changes during the Select Committee process. So to avoid misinterpretation of the intent of this new principle, the bill is reworded so that it requires governments to formulate fiscal strategy with regard to the interaction between fiscal policy and monetary policy. And the committee was concerned that there could be a mistaken impression that the relationship was only a one-way one, and that fiscal policy should take monetary policy into account, but not the reverse. And so the changes that the Select Committee brought in are made to clarify that. The Labour Party have gone further, and we don't agree with their changes. And as we've heard from Mr Parker earlier, that the Labour Party focused on this issue of saving. Now, I can't quite understand why they would say that we need to increase saving in this country, and at the same time talk about introducing a capital gains tax, which is essentially a tax on saving. So how would you be encouraging saving if you're introducing a capital gains tax which actually takes all the benefit from saving away from you? And if you say that you've got a savings problem, but your policies are all about just allowing a little bit more inflation, just a little bit more by softening the approach of the monetary policy. I've just been reading the new biography of Margaret Thatcher, and she pointed out quite strongly in the 70s that it is inflation that robs the savings of the thrifty. So why would you be encouraging saving by at the same time doing a little bit more to have some little bit more inflation, when money is no longer counted as a store of value, and this it would do well for the Greens, who are very keen to water down the milk by debasing the currency, or maybe they've changed their mind on that, but I don't believe it. If money no longer can be counted as a store of value, savings and investment are undermined, and that is why it is so important that we have a good, strong, sound system of fiscal responsibility, and that's why this bill and these changes to the Public Finance Act will, I have no doubt, improve the standing of New Zealand's financial management and will benefit for the country as a whole. So on that basis, I commend this bill to the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very good speech. Mr. Speaker.
Dr. David Clark.
Mr. Speaker, it's always a pleasure to follow that member. Despite several vacuous comments in that